Once upon a time in a bustling city, there was a young man named Daniel who harbored a big dream. Daniel wanted to be an architect. Ever since he was a child, he had a passion for drawing and designing buildings. He would spend hours sketching different structures on the back of his notebooks, imagining people living and working within the walls he had designed. He dreamed of one day seeing his creations come to life and become an integral part of the city's skyline. But Daniel's life wasn't a fairy tale. In fact, it was quite the opposite. He grew up in a poor neighborhood where dreams often got crushed under the weight of reality. The houses were old and run down, and many of the residents had given up on their aspirations long ago. They just tried to get by day, working dead-end jobs and never really thinking about what could have been. When Daniel graduated from high school, he applied to several universities, his heart pounding with hope with each application. But as the weeks went by, he started receiving rejection letters, one after another. The once bright spark of hope inside him began to flicker. His friends, who had always teased him about his big dreams, now told him it was time to be realistic. "Don't you think it's about time you gave up on that silly idea?" they said. "Find a real job so you can start making some money." Even his own relatives, who had never been particularly supportive, advised him to follow their well-meaning advice and choose a more practical career. "Dreams don't pay the bills," his aunt said with a sigh. "You need to think about getting a steady income." But Daniel couldn't give up. He knew that his dream of becoming an architect was worth fighting for, so he took a part-time job, washing dishes at a local cafe. The work was hard and often thankless, but he didn't mind because every dollar he earned brought him one step closer to his goal. Every night after his shift, Daniel would come home exhausted, but he never went to bed without first spending some time on his real passion. By the dim light of his small room, he would study design books he borrowed from the library and watch free online lectures. He immersed himself in the world of architecture, learning everything he could about the subject. While others slept, Daniel was building his future. The years passed and Daniel kept working hard. He continued to send applications to universities, and although he faced more rejections along the way, none of them broke him. Instead, they made him stronger. He realized that success wasn't about waiting for someone to approve his dream. It was about proving himself. One day, a professor from an architecture school came across Daniel's sketches online. He was impressed by Daniel's talent and his story and decided to help him. The professor invited Daniel to apply again. This time, much to his surprise, Daniel was accepted, but he knew that the journey wouldn't be easy, and it wasn't. Daniel struggled with tuition fees, long hours, and self-doubt. There were times when he wanted to give up, but then he would look at the faces of his family and remember why he started. Finally, after years of sacrifice, sleepless nights, and relentless work, Daniel graduated with honors. His final project, a sustainable housing design for low-income families, won a national award. The boy who once washed dishes to survive was now standing on a stage, holding a trophy, proving that no obstacle could stop a determined heart. As the applause echoed around him, Daniel looked out at the audience and saw the proud faces of his family and friends. He knew that he had made them believe in his dream again. In that moment, he realized that success wasn't just about achieving your goals. It was also about inspiring others to do the same. So if you have a dream that you're passionate about, never give up on it. Work hard, stay focused, and don't let anyone tell you that your goals are too big or your efforts are pointless. Because as Daniel's story proves, success doesn't belong to the most talented or the luckiest. It belongs to those who refuse to quit, who work in silence when no one is watching, and who keep moving forward even when the world tells them to stop.